What is up? Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Xavier Turbos. I'm joined for the first time this year for the Sunday wrap-up, the coach of Kiss My Behinds. It's Jake. How are you, Jake?
Yeah, good. It's been a long off season for me, but I finally made. I was going to be on last week with Mikey, but I left him stranded, which I'm glad because his Panthers did beat my Sharks last week. But I was recovering from a Vegas Sunday, so couldn't make it, but I'm here. I would have liked a better SuperCoach round, but that happens, doesn't it?
It really does happen. How have you enjoyed the footy so far?
Now, I was thinking about this. I thought, coming into the season was going to be a closer season. I thought a lot of the teams would kind of be closer together, but after this round one, I think there's two clear teams being Penrith and Storm. I think there's a collection of probably about 3 or 4 teams under that. Manly, Broncos, the Sharks maybe. They did enough against Penrith. And then there's like a collection kind of under that. Dogs, Newcastle, Dragons, I thought were okay. And then there's a lot of stinker teams, I think. And we saw that. There was like 3-4 blowouts this weekend, which I thought being round one, they're usually a lot closer. Like everyone usually lifts for round one. And I don't know, it was pretty disappointing, I think, all around. What about you, Sabs?
I'm really disappointed with how the footy's turned out. I think the quality of the high quality sides is very good. And we saw Penrith versus Sharks, which was probably the only really competitive game of the week of round one, really. And that was a great game to watch. And still Penrith kind of had their fingers.
You could tell that they had that in the bag, but yeah.
Exactly. I'm kind of disappointed in the teams that did lose. I thought most of the teams that did lose kind of needed to come out and start hot early, bank heaps of wins nice and early, but they just haven't done that. And I'm honestly a bit worried that this season is going to be very similar to the 2021 season. It just feels like it's going to go that way. We're getting comments already. 12.96. Yeah, good on you guys for bragging. I bet you won't brag when you get a shit score. 12.96. Nice start from Derek Peters. 13.65. Happy with my start. Nah, listen, round one, we've planned all preseason. Hats off to you guys for getting really good scores in round one, because it's a really good feeling when your gut feels come off. So yeah, we're gonna wrap the round up. We've only got 6 games to go through, and I guess I'll just get your thoughts on leading into next week, what you're thinking of when we wrap up the show. But let's head into this. Let's head into the wrap-up. So the Roosters play the Broncos. The Broncos beat the Roosters 50-14. And Jesus Christ, some blowouts this weekend. Do we start with the home side? Yeah, let's start with the home side. Robert Toyer, top scored with 90 points. Did you play him, Jake?
No, and I don't think a lot of people played all these cheap centre wings that went quite well. So I think a lot of them, sitting on their bench and be like, maybe they'll play next week, but I mean, the Roosters, they were poor. Toye looked good, though. I know defensively, no, but SuperCoach only rewards -1 for a bad defensive mistake, and he looked good in attack. He can move.
Exactly. And the beneficiary of that was Dom Young, 63 with 2 tries. So, I mean, my gut feel all preseason was Dom Young, he's over 700K. The Roosters have lost a lot. I wouldn't be spending that money on him. And I guess even with 2 tries, that's justified here.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get tries, but I don't think the Roosters are going to be scoring as many tries. Well, they scored, 3 or 2 in this game, and they got belted. I think they're going to be in for a long season, the Roosters.
Oh, it's going to be nice to see, to be honest.
Yes, I was going to say it's going to be good to see as well. Sorry, Roosters fans. Not really. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, Roosters fans. But you'll definitely come back next year, or you'll have a run late in the year when your players come back. But it's obviously going to be a lean year for you guys. Mark Nwangwi Tawase, 57 points. Looked pretty good, to be honest. But I guess it's hard to go towards a player in a side that isn't really going to perform this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, like you said, he looked good. If he was, maybe a bit cheaper, you could go there. But the fact he's not quite, in that bottom dollar range, we've got enough cheaper centre wings to fill that gap in. So, yeah, happy to pass on him.
Angus Crichton, 55 points. Connor Watson, 55 points. Popular second row forward hooker option. If you're an owner, would you be concerned the likes of, there are a lot of good cheapies that come out. If you got him in second row, it could be tempting to go down to Tom Gilbert for 120K or go down in hooker for like a Tom Starling or something. What are your thoughts on his performance?
I mean, you kind of take 55, not so much as second row. If you had him at hooker, I think it's fair enough because a lot of the cheapy hookers were quite ordinary. Tom Starling was the pick of the bunch, but he did have a line break in there and he played 60 minutes and I think he got 50-something points. We can't really go back to his score, but he got 50-something or maybe into the 60s. So I wouldn't kind of be moving down from a Connor Watson. I think there's other guys you can probably shoot if you have to, but it's only around one. I know that they go into Penrith next week, which probably is even uglier, but I think 55 for a hooker, it's not like you paid a massive premium on him. I think it's okay.
I think I'm more looking on the other side of the park for Penrith. Who can we target there playing the Roosters? So I wouldn't be looking at the Roosters side. Sandon Smith kicked 1 out of 3 goals, scored a line break try, 50 points. It was very concerning. To be honest, if you didn't start with him, I wouldn't be too worried. I wouldn't be rushing to get him in. I see how he goes next week, obviously. But, I mean, it looks like we're probably going to cash him out for, 350K potentially?
Yeah, he's going to need a few more attacking stats to get some peaks in price. He got saved with that try, otherwise it's a 20 and he's not making anything. Yeah, it's kind of just going to stick there and hope. Depends on what your hooker looks like. There's not really any of the cheaper ones that went well this week. Well, they scored tries but got 50 points. So I don't know. Sandon Smith, he didn't look good. He was terrible defensively, got found out heaps. So yeah, whoever's running at him, which guess who it's going to be? It's going to be Nathan Cleary next week. So if I have a Nathan Cleary, it'll be a very juicy matchup.
That's very scary for him. I do want to touch on a couple of plays before we do go. Naf White, 43 points, and Sil Wong, 32 points. Both didn't really get the minutes considering they had Victor Radley go off with a HIA. Nafahu White, 48 minutes. That's probably what you expected with a full strength side. And Sil Wong, 67 minutes. I mean, that's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, he played that on the edge, though, and they didn't have much ball. So you kind of expect that out of a back rower that, is not, say, an Angus Crichton that gets his tackle bust and offloads in. So I wouldn't kind of be going anywhere. A lot of people started with Nafahu White. I wouldn't be trading him out. I think because it was a blowout, which we could be saying the exact same thing next week, that they played their rookie guys more minutes than they usually would. Like Lindsay Collins only played like 45 minutes as well, and you expect him to play nearly 60 in a tight game. So I think stick with him, get another look at him, and then if there's some other guy that you can trade out off him. Yep.
All right, let's head over to I guess Teddy. He's the most expensive player in the game, 43 points. I think if you're on him, are you going down to a Yongi if you don't have Yongi or something like that?
There's a lot of fullbacks. You just go to anybody, I think. You got Ponga Turbo, Walsh, go to one of them.
Happy.
He does have the buy, but
yeah, anybody. True. For the Broncos, Reynolds top scored 105 points. Payne Haas 104 points. Your Adam Fennell-Blake in the front row for the Sharks. It seems like the premium options did pay off. We feeling any sort of remorse or regret for not considering a gun front rower? I assumed you did start with the Terrell May, Corey Horsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I started with the template front row, and it would have been nice to kind of lock in a Payne Haas and kind of be done for the year with him and Terrell May and Payne Haas. But I don't know, he kind of just didn't really cross my mind for some weird reason. I don't like he just. he always, when you look at him, he always had that injury badge against his name. You're like, oh no, I just won't even bother because it's got an injury thing. We knew he was playing, and I don't know, but he looked fantastic. He only played like 45 minutes as well because he didn't really have to play big minutes, but he was unbelievable.
Yeah, 49
minutes. The Roosters.
49 minutes. Every time he got the ball, he kind of skipped to the edge and found room on the outside. So I think that's something I haven't seen from Haas too much, just aiming for running at back rowers and centers even sometimes. So much more opportunities for tackle bus. There you go, 22 points in tackle bus, 21 points in tackles, 16 points in offloads. The offloads out, and only 24 points in hit ups. I would have thought there was more, to be honest. But he did get attacking stats in there, and if the offload is out, the attacking stats are there. So I think Payne Haas, is it a case of when do you get him, or is it a case of how do you get him right now?
I wouldn't really be rushing. I think the front rowers that everyone kind of has went well enough.
Yeah.
It's not like they bummed out. So he's just kind of going to be a luxury trade in the next couple of weeks, or when you kind of want to bring him in. I think the front rowers that everyone has, they did a good enough job to cover it.
I'll pair that conversation with Pat Carrigan, 642K, slightly cheaper. It does have the front row draw, 93 points, very similar, but he did get 70 minutes. He got 67 minutes. So he's more of a high work rate, long form type of player. He got 20 points in tackles. He got a try assist and just like getting points from everywhere. 10 points in offloads, 4 points in tackle bus, got a line break assist, 42 points in hit ups. That's where he gets the majority of his points from. I mean, he's such a good option, but I guess, as you said before, the options we already have are good enough, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Reece Walsh, 95 points, looked pretty good. Wasn't involved in everything considering they put 50 on him, 50 on the Roosters, but still happy enough.
Absolutely bomb a try in the first half, though.
Yeah.
So that should have been about 120.
Yeah, it definitely should have been. I was actually quite happy with it, to be honest, because when he didn't pass the ball early enough, didn't Teddy knock it down and they got the ball back? So I was thinking, they're going to have a repeat set. He's going to be able to get a line break try here, and that's pretty much 45, 50 points in a minute. I was quite happy with that. But 95 points, I think the three-gun fullbacks has been a positive, but Yongi scoring 64 probably does put the Yongi owners in front. But I've been pretty happy all weekend with my decision. Jesse Arthur's 94 points, 340K. That left edge with Ben Hunt on that left looks very strong. Him and Shibasaki, 83 points. Are you? Do you have Arthur's in your side?
Not Arthur's, but I do have Matt. And
Matt.
Yeah, that left side, that was killing. I mean, you looked at the F side. You had Goz, Matt Shibasaki, and Jesse Arthur, and you think that's a terrible edge. But Ben Hunt made them look like absolute superstars, and the Roosters probably helped them make them look like superstars as well. But yeah, I mean, they're cheap options. I kind of wouldn't be running to get Arthur's. I think there's probably, you can get cheapies for less. If he has another big game, then I guess bring him in for the price rise, but I wouldn't really be jumping in next week.
He's never averaged more than 42 in a season, so that's why I didn't get him. I think I did want to see attacking stats, and we got a lot of them in the first game. So I'm leaning more towards, I think Ben Hunt being on that side is going to be very helpful for him. But for me, I'm definitely waiting till the third game. I just want to see how that plays out. And the big score in the first round is the one that drops out first. So we can wait and see how that goes. Cobbo, I've been keen on him. He's got three tries.
Yeah, 3 tries for an 85.
Yeah, Ben Hunt, 81. Ricky, the guy's 66 points. Nice little cheapie there. I think the same for him. I'd wait till round 3 just because I feel like he was keeping this spot warm for Piakora, but Piakora obviously got Simbin Simbin sent off, whatever. And I don't know, I just feel like the guys will stay there for a bit, and he scored a try nice and early. So hopefully he can get another attacking stat later in the game, but he did play big minutes and only scored 32 points in base. He played 80 minutes.
Yeah, did play 80 minutes, inflated with a try. So you're looking at like 36 in base. They didn't really run at that edge either, the Roosters. So he didn't kind of get, your tackle. He's probably good for 30 or so tackles, and they kind of just use him as a block shape out the back for, Ben Hunt to carve up. But I'm happy with the guys. I think Piakura didn't come on to like the 70th minute and then went off in the 71st minute. I think Madge's sort of coach would be like, stupid, I'm going with a guy who did a job for me and you ruined your shot. So I think the guys is there to stay for the Bronx.
I think so too. I just want to keep an eye on
Not the flashiest of players and picks, but I mean, if he gets an all right score this week and you've got a player that's not so good for round 3, he's going to be a perfect cheapie to pick up.
To be fair, he's 230k, so he will be a buy if he definitely keeps the spot by round 3. Piakura -11, so hopefully he keeps up that bench roll for a few weeks, and then something happens, whether it's just out of form or something, and he fights his way back into that spot. He'll be an option later in the year. Kobe Hetherington, 55 points, had 2 line breaks, only had 33 in base. Played 45 minutes, which I was expecting a little bit more, and I was expecting a little bit more work rate. For me, I'm probably not going to play him in the future, but pretty happy with a 55 for round 1.
Yeah, you'll take that. I mean, I didn't go Kobe, and it was kind of the role I thought. You've got Payne Haas and Carrigan who are going to dominate minutes, the ball. It's kind of go all around, and I thought Kobe would kind of be like the link man between them. I didn't expect him to get 2 line breaks. So you take that as owners and a potential price rise down the road. But yeah, he's kind of just meat and potatoes usually. So not the fanciest of picks, but I mean, it's not a terrible. I mean, 35 in a team where they had all the ball, less base.
Yeah, for sure. Question on the spot. If he was your only avenue to Jack Gazewski, would you do it?
Yes, but that'd be next week. I wouldn't worry about it this week. No.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's move on to the next game. Tigers play the Knights, and as you can see, Captain Terrell May, 78 points. We didn't touch on our scores. I got 1173.
I got like 1148. So below par.
It's funny how we're disappointed in that round 1. That's absolutely.
Usually anything over 1,000 for round 1's great, but
I know
this is like the highest round 1 I think I've seen.
I know. That's why I went pretty conservative with my captain and pretty much starting side with all like Gilberts and Noel Kawatu and stuff like that. But I don't know. It feels like a different year already. Terrell May, 78 points, updated nicely with his offloads. Alex Twile looked really good. He's 430k available front row, second row. Played pretty big minutes. Is he? I guess there's so many options at the prices, but I kind of like him better than Alex Seyfarth.
Yeah, and I mean, he kind of at an all right price, but it's like you've got Seyfarth now. It's a sideways trade to kind of get Twile. It's not like it's a high ceiling trade.
Yeah.
It's kind of one that if you started with, you're happy, but I wouldn't kind of really be trading to get him in. But yeah, he looked pretty good. I mean, he actually developed a bit of an offload, which I thought he didn't have at all.
Yeah,
a bit of footwork as well for tackle bust. So Big Twile was a bit surprising. But I mean, how many forwards do you want from the Tigers?
Yeah, exactly. 30 points in tackles and 18 points in runs. So 48 in base, played 50 minutes. That's pretty good. Very meat and potatoes, though, but he did develop that offload. Gerald Skelton, 62 points with a try and line break. Slightly underwhelming, but we bought him for the base and the attacking upside. We got the attacking upside, so pretty happy. Most people around that price in the center wing kind of scored very similar, like Greg Marju, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and then we had Tuipulotu, who absolutely went massive. But all them players really stood up. Skelton owner?
I'm not. I have Marzu over him, but I mean, I thought Skelton looked a lot better than a 62. He seemed to be having 2 runs a set every time, and he was busting a few tackles. So I was very surprised that he didn't update, above 70, and he kind of kept at that 62. It's quite surprising for him.
Yeah, I guess Marju at a similar price, 83. Yeah, happy with that move?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Marzu, he was offloading. I think he had 4 offloads in the game. Tackle, busts, plenty of runs. I mean, it's just going to depend if he gets a try to get those higher scores. And he was pretty lucky with it. He nearly stepped out, and it was a terrible defense from the Tigers in a low-scoring game. So you
Yep.
take that from Marzu.
Luai, 54 points, looked really good at halfback. Looked like he had his hands all over that team, and looks like he's playing exactly how he was when he filled in at halfback for Penrith. So it's good to see. Lockie Galvin looked really good too, but the scores didn't reflect it. It was a low-scoring game, so we can give him that. Any interest in these two?
I mean, I kind of was thinking about them for 5'8", but I ended up going with Burton, who I think is the exact same thing, although Luai's a bit cheaper. But I thought Galvin overplayed his hand a bit in this game. He always wanted to kind of jink and go himself rather than use his outside backs. But I think the combination with them will grow. Luai, hands on the ball all the time, which is promising. He's quite highly owned, so if you do own him, it's promising to see that he's so heavily involved for the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And they also get Appy back as well, which should help with their attack.
Yeah, exactly. Dewey, 41 points, and I guess a good segue into Appy coming back. You had the goal kicking. If you're an owner, obviously, would not think he's selling most of these guys after round one, but 41, he had a try contribution. He looked pretty solid, but the goal kicking is massive for him.
I mean, I think he keeps a goal kicking. He's much better goal kicker than Appy is, and I think the attacking stats will come for him. I think at 430 or 460, whatever his price is, it's a pretty good value for Dewey. So if you do have him, I'll be happy with it. I mean, they scored 8 points. I expect their attack to be a bit better and the tries to come. So yeah, I'll be happy with Dewey if I had him.
Alex Seafar, 36 points. I'm an owner. Are you an owner?
I am an owner. I mean, it's kind of disappointing. He did go off with HIA, some 15 minutes. They just didn't go that way, the Tigers, and the other team really didn't run that way either. So the game wasn't down his side. So I saw enough in the trial, saw enough last year that I'm kind of happy to stick with him. If he has another, stinker game, fair enough. We can look for someone else, but I'm happy to look past this 1 week.
It looks like he's likely to play 80 minutes. He was on the field for 65 with the HIA, so definitely happy just to watch for another week and see how he goes. Our last player, Royce Hunt, at 250K. He looked much better than the 21 he scored, but I guess at that price, you kind of do want a bit more, but I think I saw enough to not worry too much about moving him on.
Yeah, we're just going to need, some tries in there. He played some decent minutes. He came on for a second stint towards the end. Like you said, I thought it was better than a 21. He was having runs and getting a bit defensively, but we're not the scorers. And it's when you're making tackles and runs, it's pretty obvious what your score is. So
yeah, he played 30 minutes. So hopefully he can get that PPM up. Historically, he has had a higher PPM. So hopefully we can get more out of him in the future. We've talked about Marju. Fletcher Sharp, 83 points. He looked electric, didn't he?
He did look good. It's a shame he's kind of priced so high and won't get 5'8" dual.
Yeah.
Like that fullback dual is just pointless to all of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looked really good. He's at the same price as Lucas, who looked just as good as well. So there's kind of a lot of Knights center wings that are good options.
Yeah, exactly. He got 20 points in tackle bust, 20 points in line breaks. He got 8 points in tackles. How did he get away with tackling that much? 19 points in runs. So his base and base power is pretty good. 83 points. I'm excited to see how he goes this year. I had a lot of questions asking between him and Lucas, and I feel like Lucas at 75 points has to do a lot less to get very similar. So I guess that's why I've gone Lucas over Fletcher Sharp, but I couldn't blame you if you're looking for the upside of Fletcher Sharp.
Yeah, like you said, Lucas has the higher floor. Sharp obviously has the higher ceiling, but I thought even Lucas looked good. Like he's going to get attacking stats. He had a line break, beat about 6 players on his way to a line break. Could have easily had a try if things goes his way. So yeah, I'd probably prefer Lucas just for the safety, depending who else you have at center wing. If you have more of your low ceiling, high up side centre wings, I'd be happy to shove Lucas there as well. So, yeah, I prefer Lucas over Sharp.
Yeah, I think you can't really.
And he also has a useful duel in the second row. That
Yes,
fullback duel, like I said,
100% agree.
useless.
I'm already considering utilizing it at the moment.
Yeah.
But Kalen Ponga, 82 points, looked pretty good. I think Ponga Trebojevic combo is the way to go. Obviously, they're both just going to bust out, hopefully. Kaipi's Paul looked pretty good on the right edge for 59 points. Not much else Supercoach wise.
I do want to bring up Phoenix Crossland at a.
Yeah.
I mean, he's slightly more than the cheaper hooker options, but I thought he probably looked. Him and Tom Starling were, a bit more than the rest of them, but they actually scored quite decently just in base. I think he made like 60 tackles in this game in 60 minutes. Crossland. They must just run at him because he just looks like I'm just going to run at him. Just has that look.
Yeah. So 50 points in tackles. What a weapon.
Yeah, and then he moved to lock when Jaden Brayley came on, so he probably played 20. I think he had like 2 runs though, but he's kind of going to be one. Say you've got like Mamazoulis, it's only 30K to get to him.
Yeah,
I'd probably rather him than Mamazoulis with, I guess, Dodd coming in. Humphrey looks good, so could be one to watch.
He played 60 minutes as well, which is very promising. I guess you do want the hookers to play more than that. Mamazoulis did play 70 minutes, but yeah, let's move on to that game, I guess. The Rabbitohs defeated the Dolphins, and to be honest, I wasn't too keen on watching this game. I watched it, but
look, both Saturday games were bits. Oh well, except for the last one, these were both stinky. No, Tigers was on Friday, so these were both Friday games.
Yeah,
got my days wrong. They were both stinky.
I was actually very excited for the Tigers game because I captained Terrell May, and it was very vibey. Jai Gray top scored 77 points. Obviously, Latrell around the corner, not an option. Colin Matangi 65 points. He's definitely surprised me there. I think he's definitely someone to look at.
And he's on the left as well, so he'll be outside Cody. So you expect them to go that way.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? I've spoken about that in the preseason. I think it's probably a bad thing.
Yeah, Cody likes to kind of, sweep play and use his outside runners, but he's never actually had a decent whole running second rower there. He's had Jacob Host and Jai Arrow for the last 4-5 years. So having a Colin Matangi, he did use him a lot. Not so much in the second half, but the first half, Colin Matangi looked really good.
Yeah, for sure. We've got Tyron Munro went over for a double for 64 and then got injured.
Again, he's so unlucky. You've got 30 collarbone injury in like 3 years.
So I guess whoever gets that left wing spot, we'll definitely be talking about. Could be Isaiah Tass.
Yeah, you think maybe Tass, Fletcher Myers will probably come in. They got Jack Whiten, who's going to miss a game as well with suspension. But you also got AJ coming back in maybe 3 weeks. So it's a bit unknown if AJ's going to come in straight back into that left or whoever's kind of going to be there, whether it's Tass or Myers stays there. It's a bit unknown. So I don't really want to touch any of them with AJ coming back.
100%. Jamie Humphries, Isaiah Tass, 56 points. Didn't see much ball until he moved to the left with the Munro injury. Probably, I don't know, 330K. It's a bit awkward. I think we got nice bottom dollar cheapies. I wouldn't really be keen on that. Jamie Humphries, 55 points, looks very good. And, if you got a Tom Duffy who could struggle, he might be an upgrade option if he keeps his spot.
That's going to be the big one with Louis Dog coming back. They're paying him quite a bit as an English, over here. So it's going to be interesting to see what Wayne does. He doesn't change winning teams, so I think Humphries might keep the spot. And if he does, he definitely looks a lot better than Tom Duffy.
It honestly couldn't have worked out better for Wayne, to be honest, because he probably had to start Dodd with the money's on. But now the pressure's on because Jamie Humphries has performed and looks good. Who knows if they can change it there. Tallis Duncan, 49. Hubner, 45 points as a bottom dollar cheapie. I'm pretty sure he's like nearly 50% owned anyway. So very happy there. Campbell Graham, 44 points. Pretty disappointing.
Yeah, it's 44 just in base, which is good for, he's only 500K, so his discount price. The attacking stats will come. So I'm not too worried. As long as he's staying away from getting injured, which seems to happen all the time, I think it was a pretty good outing from him. just the score didn't show, but it's promising to see.
Yeah, 33 points in runs and 12 points in offloads. That's very promising. So he's getting after it, and I guess it looks pretty good. Peter Mambazelos, 37 points, played 70 minutes. So
didn't have a run.
Yeah, only tackled, but he does play 70 minutes. He is at a cheap price. I think I've just got to wait and see. Maybe the game just didn't work out for him. Hopefully he can get over for an attacking stat here or there. But it is tricky when you've got Sandon and Pete in your hooker spot.
Yeah, and a lot of people went Pakes as well from the Broncos, which we kind of just glide over and didn't mention. Yeah. So all of them are kind of in the same bracket. If they don't really get attacking stats, more Sandon and Pakes, without attacking stats, they both end up with 20 points, where I think Mamazoulis maybe has more of a slightly higher floor. But yeah, it's just going to depend on attacking stats. And then if they all suck, what are we paying up for?
Yep, exactly. For the Dolphins, Jermaine Asako, top score with 96 points, 2 tries. I apologize in advance to everybody who I talked out of Asako. I'm not keen on him, but did well this game, and the Dolphins did look pretty refreshed. 96 points. Even Herbie passed the ball, to be honest. Herbie, 65 points. That edge looked pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to score doubles every week, and I think he had probably 3 line breaks in it. But, I mean, like we said, both teams were pretty ordinary, so I don't really take too much out of it. I'm glad you apologise to all the ones that you talked out of Asako, because they'd be quite angry about 96. But I think long term, I don't see the Dolphins being too good, so their outside backs probably don't score as well. But yeah, Herbie, that's 65 just in base, which we saw from tail end of last year.
You're a big Herbie guy. Did you start with him?
I wanted to, but I thought at that price, I'm probably going to get the same out of someone for 200k less, like in a Mazu or an RTS, and they all outscored Herbie this week. But definitely one, if he comes down in price, I'll be targeting, because he has the tackle bust, the runs, and the offload.
Well, yeah, Herbie on the weekend, he had 19 points in tackles, 12 points in offloads, which is 31 points, and then 26 in runs, which is 57 points, which is that's crazy. There's not many center wingers that can do that. So I think Herbie is someone definitely to target nice and early. Tom Gilbert for 462k, 64 points. He came out, played 59 minutes, and his base was magnificent, 57 points. Maybe it was 59. He had a try contribution as well. Gilbert, do you have him in your side? And if you don't, looking at getting him in.
I don't, but I will be getting him in next week. I will be making one trade. I'll spoil it early. Kelma Tuolangi is leaving my team as soon as lockout's over, because he's a bum. And Gilbert will be coming in. 60 minutes. I thought they might ease him back in, coming off not playing for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and he was like a man on the mission. Every time someone had the ball, he was charging out and going to whack them. Plenty of tackles, runs, got an offload on him. One guy we kind of quickly skipped over was Max Plath. 80 minutes on the edge. I think at hooker, he could be, one of the top scoring hookers, I think, with Harry Grant. He's one that I'm going to kind of be interested in if all my hookers are poo. He's one that I could be targeting just to throw in hooker and then be done.
Yeah, for sure. He's that type of player that you can just plug in there and leave for the season. Scored a try. So the fact that he is on the edge gives him that little bit of attacking upside that he didn't have in the middle, which is nice. 83 points. And once again, I did a few Q&As before the end of lockout, and I was a bit cold on him. So I might have talked some people out of Plath, but 617,000. I'll definitely readjust my bearings as the season goes on with form guides and how we go like that. But Max Plath, it's hard to know how teams are traveling in preseason. So I guess we've got an actual sample size of it now in one game for a lot of these guys. And Plath is a guy who's come out, he looks fit. So at hooker is a very good option. Hammer, obviously 80 points. Vinny Fuaki, 48 points. Did go for a HIA, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he went off HIA. He actually failed it. It was like a Cat 2 later on. He failed it. He did look good, though. He looked a lot busier than what we saw at the Cowboys. So, We can't really get a gauge on what minutes we're going to be like because I guess Lemuelu would have come on and played edge at some point anyway. I don't know where that made Plath go to the middle. We don't really know that rotation because Fuyaki, got KO'd. So, but he did look promising. And at 3:30, another game. Hopefully, he recovers and he plays another game. This week, so we get a look at him, and he might be a downgrade option from, a bum like Kelmer or whoever of other second row you might have that you were disappointed in.
I've just got a message from Tim Moody. He must be watching live. Mamazelis
Mhm.
might not play 70 if they didn't put Sullivan in the centers, which with the Munro injury potentially, but the injury happened quite later. So
Now Munro went off at halftime.
There you go.
And Sullivan came on. And then Mamazoulis came off and Havili went and played hooker, which, again, he's another hooker. I think the big one for that's probably going to be what they do with Humphreys. He can probably play hooker. And then maybe Dodd. I don't know if he's much of a hooker. So we'll see with Wayno. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for how long?
Oh, a little bit. Who else for the Dolphins? Not much else going on at the Dolphins. So let's move on to the Dragons play the Bulldogs. This was a pretty good game. I enjoyed this game. Tuipulotu triple, 128 points. That left edge for the Dragons with Gutho and Val Holmes is electric, 550K. He does have a bye in round 3, but he does play the Dogs. No, he plays the he plays the Rabbitohs next week, and then he plays the Storm in round 4. So I think you've missed out on the big one, but I still like him.
Yeah, I mean, you'd assume after that game he probably keeps his spot, but like Fanau was ahead of him in through the trials, and it seemed like until I don't know whether it was a HIA or heat stroke or whatever, cost him to not be playing, but. Yeah, he did look good, and that left side, like you said, that was very electric.
Gutho, 113 points, one of the top scoring fullbacks of the weekend. Who would have thought?
I think he was the top scorer. Did he beat Tommy, or was it like it was? I know it was pretty similar.
Nah, Tommy 113, but Pappy top scored.
Oh yeah, Pappy.
Yeah. But yeah, he looks good, and I think that the Dragons on the run, Gutho looks good. Val Holmes, 70 points. Pretty much keeping up to his price tag. Little come on. And I sent a message in the WhatsApp group saying Little, he pretty much came on 50, 60 minute mark or something like that. And he was so good when he came on. 69 points. He had a try and a try assist. I sent a message in the WhatsApp group saying if he keeps these minutes up, he's going to be really juicy if something happens to Cook, even though Cook's never been injured in like 5 years. But he
not if he keeps scoring like that, though.
Exactly. He looked really good, so I expect him to play more minutes leading into the future. Toby Couchman, 69 points at a very similar price to Tom Gilbert. I like the look of Toby Couchman, but it's hard to know what that rotation looks like because Ryan Couchman did his ACL, so all the minutes are all over the place. 44 points in tackles. He had a few offloads, a few tackle busts, and 20 points in runs.
Yeah, just your meat and potato sort of thing that you want out of ideally you would have him at front row, but yeah, he did look quite good, and kind of to the same bloke down below that for much cheaper, Emre Gula as kind of a cheaper option, pay a bit more up for say Royce Hunt if you manage that. Look pretty good again with the minutes and the kind of with the injury, don't know, so maybe get another look next week, and if the minutes are there and still keeping that work rate, Gula looks an all right one for to make a bit of cash.
Yep, 330K, 53 points. I have Gula in my side, and I was watching him nice and closely. Did give away a few penalties, so hopefully he can clean that up. I don't know if he was going to get 54 minutes. I think he may have got a touch less, but still, if he gets 50 minutes, I think it's still a nice little cash grab there. Mose Sully, 45, Cook, 42. Obviously, all of us have pretty much talked down Cook all preseason just because of the dual hooker rotation. Hamish Stewart, 198,000, 42 points off the bench. Obviously inflated minutes because of that ACL injury, which was nice and early. Any interest?
If he keeps his spot and keeps, gets decent minutes at bottom dollar, and he already looks a much better option than, say, a Royce Hunt. it's kind of just going to be, we've got one sample size with injury affected, so it's just going to matter how he goes in the next couple of weeks, I think.
I'll tell you what the good thing is. If Royce Hunt gets an attacking stat next week or something, he'll get a price rise potentially. And then because the Dragons have a bye in round 3, you'll be able to downgrade after Royce Hunt has his price rise. So hopefully,
Look at you, Savs, thinking ahead.
I always think ahead, mate. Always think ahead. 43 minutes. So, if he keeps that up, that's a very good person to have at that 4th front row spot, and could hopefully make you 150K or something like that. For the Bulldog, have we got anyone else? No. For the Bulldog, you could talk about Lockie Elias. I had him in my team preseason. He looked awful, though, 37 points. Tupanua, top scores, 103 points with a double. Maybe this year's Josh Curran.
Well, with Josh Curran to come back, we don't really know. I don't think he's going to be scoring a double every week, but he looked good.
Yep. Connor Tracy, 90 points. A lot of talk of him in the preseason. 587K, 90 points. Any interest?
I guess so. I didn't think he would be kind of this busy. He didn't seem like a guy to take 20 runs in a game, but he was busy in this one. And if he's going to be getting 20 runs a game and, involved in their attack, he's definitely a good option. I mean, he's a fullback he's only fullback available at center wing. So it's a pretty interesting option. Would have preferred him to be a little bit cheaper than what he is. Because I think, for 500K, you can get, Marzu, Skelton, RTS, or all these guys for a bit less and save money and spend it elsewhere. But it does look pretty good, Tracy.
Viliami kick out, 84 points, a crowd favourite. Timmy would be very happy. Matt Burden, 58 points. You started with him?
Yeah, I nearly didn't after his awful trial form, but I stuck with him. I think the Dogs have a pretty easy draw to begin with. So, I mean, no attacking stats really, had a bunch of try contributions and a few goals, but I think the attacking stats will come for him. So I'm okay with a 58 going forward.
Pretty good considering no major attacking stats, which is nice. Montoya scored a try of 57 points. Preston, everyone was heavy on him, 49 points. Played 80 minutes, though. The signs are there for him to have a pretty good year.
The game just didn't kind of come for him. I think he's attacking threat, and they'll go to him when it doesn't work for Kickout. So I have him, and although it was a down score, I'm happy with what I saw.
Yeah, for sure. And nothing else really SuperCoach relevant. Reid Marnie, 20 points. Stephen Crichton, 20 points. Looked like he got injured, but stayed on, obviously. All right, so Manly defeated the Cowboys, and Manly have officially announced that they're winning the comp. Top scorer, Daly Cherry Evans.
I wouldn't go that far, Saz, but they definitely are contenders.
They looked very good. I don't know. It's hard to tell whether half of these teams are looking really good or the other half are looking really bad. So I guess we'll wait and see. But Cherry Evans, 126 points. You'd be happy with that. Trbojevic, 113 points. Very popularly captained. Saab, 107. Olakawatu, 100. Garrick, 86. Is it just they play the Warriors in New Zealand next week? If you're considering any of these guys, is it just you got to go now?
Yeah, I think more so for the backs. I think a lot of people started with Turbo and Garrick, so I think they're kind of locks. Olakawatu's another guy who was heavily owned at the start. I mean, I wouldn't be kind of jumping for like a Saab or anyone like that, but I think the proven guns definitely. But I wouldn't be kind of sideways trading to get them. I mean, if we said it before, if you had, say, a Tedesco, you'd definitely go to a Tom Trbojevic. But I think everyone kind of already had Tom and then maybe had Teddy as their second. So that's fine. One guy who I was actually impressed with, which I'm sure you're going to get to, was Taniela Paseka, available at front row. He's kind of skirted around becoming like, a really good front row option in SuperCoach, but he just hasn't gone to that next length. But I thought he was great in this one. Offloads, tackle busts in it, was pretty busy. He didn't play big minutes because he didn't have to. But I think after Jake Trbojevic, he's kind of like their main guy. So at that price, you can kind of throw him in with the Couchmans maybe. to kind of maybe be a bridge to a gun if you need it. But I'd rather kind of pay up and go someone else.
Yeah, so he played 53 minutes, which is good signs for a front rower. His base is a little lower than a lot of these other options.
Did he have
we talked
attacking stats in there?
Yeah, he had a try assist, line break assist, and he had 8 points in offloads, 16 points in tackles, which is very low for a middle forward. To be honest,
but I mean they weren't doing much tackling in the first half when he was out there.
That's also true.
They were just scoring points the entire half.
Yeah. That's a very good point. But the fact that he can get them attacking stats and he's playing big minutes, he's definitely on for there. Lehigh, 58 points. A lot of people keen on him. I was pretty happy with him. I think it just didn't go his way this time. Obviously, they're targeting the rookie in Jackson Purdue, but next week, who will they be targeting? I assume they'll target probably maybe the left side with Tuapiki and Leitawa.
Yeah. It's kind of going. I mean, Metcalf wasn't too great defensively either, so they could probably go that way. But I think the right side's so dominant. You've got Cherry there, Olakawatu, Garrick. I think regardless, they're going to go that side more often than not. So with Tom sweeping both sides, I don't think any defense is going to matter.
Yep, for sure. Anything else for the Manly Sea Eagles? We've got Takiaho, who I was talked about in the preseason a little bit, 25 points. Cooler, 19 points. Brooks, 38 points. I mean, Simkin, 41 points, and Jazz Tavanga, 29. All just mid.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't really get much base because it was just all the same guys scoring tries. So,
yep.
Yeah. Unless you're involved in the attack, you're kind of going to have a lower score.
That's true. For the Cowboys, Viliami Valia, top scores. Drinky, very scary, was on 8 with like 20 minutes to go, 72 points. Braden Burns, 71. Bateman, 63. Pretty good at the price. You pretty much got what you wanted. But apart from that, the cheapies, Purdue and Duffy, 28 and 23. Concerning what you saw from them?
Yes, and I think just from the Cowboys in general, I mean, they have players just behind them that could take their spot. So that's the one, to take out of this, that if they go and get flogged by the Sharks next week, which I hope they do, these two guys could lose their spots. And then I guess it's going to be ideal because it's round 3 and we can kind of move off to someone else. But Duffy being, bottom dollar halfback, unless Humphreys stays, which is still going to be a 100K upgrade, it's going to be kind of hard to get off him. I think getting off Purdue is going to be quite easy because there's plenty of center wings there, but I wouldn't be playing any of those guys.
Yeah, 100%. I played Duffy and I'm severely disappointed. Thought with the goal kicking. One thing to note, Drinky took the second kick.
Yeah, well, that was quite weird. Don't know whether he took a knock or something, Duffy, but yeah.
Do you think there's a chance they're sharing the kicking tee based on preferred sides? Like, would a side do that?
I'm not too sure. Are they like different footed? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, Drinky's left footed and Duffy's right footed.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Duffy
might play.
Duffy took the kick from in front, and Drinkwater took the kick from. They scored on the right side, so it's like he's
left footed curl. Yeah. Okay. That might be something that they do.
Potentially
might be on something, Sats.
I don't know if a team is willing to do that at this time.
Usually, just lock in a goal kicker just because they focus on that, and the other guy doesn't have to focus on it. So,
but for the Cowboys, they've
we won't know. And we won't know next week either because they won't be scoring any tries.
Who are they playing? The Sharks? Are they?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Now you're very scared if you're not a Hines owner. Do you own Hines?
I do, but I'm equally scared because I'm not a Cleary owner who plays the Roosters. So I don't think it matters. Both guys could score 200.
It's going to be a long season. If you didn't score well this week, then it's going to come back around very shortly. Last game. Let's get there. Pappenhausen, 133, was the fullback of the weekend. He looked really good. He just looked electric off the feet. He looked like back to his best. Is it still isn't goal kicking though? So I think that does hurt him.
Does it though? I mean, we don't have Tom and Reece Walsh goal kicking, and I think Pappenhausen, Melbourne are a top 2 team. And if Pappenhausen's going to keep being that involved in it, I think you can put him in the conversation. I mean, he's 100 to 200K cheaper than the other two guys. If he didn't have a bye next week, I think he would be a lot more highly owned than what he is. But I think taking fullback away from, round 2, that's why kind of no one really went there. Like, he's 616K. As long as he's fit and not, hopefully stays away from the injuries, I'd throw him up there in the top fullbacks as an option. He's definitely going to be a pod option, that's for sure.
I guess just because we haven't seen the him hit his ceiling without the goal kicking. Like, his high score is 194, 197, I think, and he was goal kicking then. He hasn't really hit 150 plus too much, and I think the goal kicking does take him up to that next level. Like, if he was goal kicking today, he would have missed, let's say he got 8 out of 10, he would have scored 32 more points, which would have taken him to 165, which is significantly different. So that's why Meany's score is so high, 99 points. Don't think I could touch Meany, but his goal kicking looks...
You reckon you couldn't?
I don't know. Melbourne looked pretty good, didn't
they? They're going to score a lot of tries. The second half, they didn't score too many points. I think Munster got 2 points in the second half, and Pappenhausen might have got an extra 30 or something. They kind of just switched off. Yeah, they switched off.
Pappy was on 122 at halftime.
Yeah, Munster was 89, so they definitely switched off. But I think Meany, just with the goal kicking, is kind of guaranteed. We say like an extra 10 points. I think playing in Melbourne, you're guaranteed like an extra 20 or 30 points every game.
Yeah.
Like the amount of tries that they're going to score. I think he's definitely an option. 600K, not the worst. The fact they're going to Penrith after the bye is kind of like, we'll stay away. But when the draw gets juicier, I think Meany at centre wing can be an option.
So scored 372 points goal kicking last year. How many games did he play?
I think all of them, but kind of ones that he was rested for towards the end.
Okay, so let's do the maths there. 372 divided by, let's say, 23.
Yeah, sure.
That's 16 points a game. That's pretty handy. And if you can add a little bit of base to that, I don't know.
Well, not so much the base. I mean, just attacking stats. I think he had a try and a try assist in this game. He's playing outside Hughes, Katoa, Pappenhausen. If he's going to play that well, I think the attacking stats will be there. So I think he's a pretty decent option.
Cam Munster, 91 points, was obviously on, I think, 80, 81 at halftime or something like that.
I think it was on 89. I think he got like 2 points in the second half.
Oh, God. I was regretting life by going Dylan Brown over him very early on. He looked so good, but plays Penrith in round 3. I think I will consider targeting him after that if Dylan Brown doesn't live up to expectations, but he looks really good.
Yeah, he did look good. That first half, I thought him and Pappenhausen, they scored 200 each, but they kind of just, they switched off. But yeah, he did look good. He was involved a lot. He was playing both sides as well, which is promising. So, yeah, Munster, I think after round 3, after they play Penrith, I think he's definitely going to be a trading target for me.
I think at a very similar time, Jack Howarth, 430K, 89 points. He looks so good.
Very good. Again, if he didn't have the bye in round 2, I think I would have started with him. But I get an extra week of watching Howarth to then bring him in if he's, break evens low or he looks good. So, yeah, promising. I think he'll be traded in at the same time kind of Munster is. Everyone in round 4 will be targeting Melbourne players.
Yep, he was in and out of my side a lot in the preseason, and I think that round 2 bye scared me off. But if you started with him, then you deserve the points that you got from him. Yeah. Eli Katoa, 80 points, looked very good. That was a very nice try he scored. Josh King, 70. Coates, 70. Jerome Hughes, 64. Went off quite early. I'm not sure if that's an injury or early resting.
I think it was just resting. I mean, he's kind of had injuries most of the preseason, so they kind of put him on ice, put Wishart out there. It was just a preserving thing, I think.
Harry Grant, 56 with a try. Obviously didn't go his way with a lot of tackles and a lot of room to move out of dummy half. They went wide nice and early. Stefano, 35 points. I think you would have expected more if you took the punt on Stefano at 530.
Yeah, at that price, if you have him, I'd be concerned about him. Kind of didn't really get the minutes. Liero plays big minutes. King plays big minutes. He kind of just seems a 40-minute guy.
Yep. We got a quick comment here from Mungo. Most high scores I've seen all had to play cheap center wings. I doubt that pays off every week. I 100% agree. If you did get a high score, well done. If you didn't, it's not going to work like that every week. So it'll come around. Mainly saying that to reassure myself.
Yes, I agree. Reassuring myself as well.
Dylan Brown top scored for the Parramatta Eels, 73 points. Was on a pretty low score at halftime. May get a try assist taken off him as well. I think he probably keeps it just based on how they've been scoring this year, but may get it taken off him. Isaiah Yongi, 63 points. It was very worrying for owners early on.
Yeah, got that junk time try at the end. Same as Dylan Brown. He got a bunch of junk points when Melbourne switched off and Parra scored a couple of tries. But I would be a bit worried about Parramatta. I mean, they're going to play Melbourne every week. They play the Tigers, so I expect a closer contest, but they looked awful in the first half. So a bit worrying signs if you've got kind of any Parramatta attackers. So Iongi was saved this week. You might not get saved for the next couple. So
yes,
hopefully. I mean, I'm an Ongi owner, so hopefully some attacking stats keep going and we can make some quick cash, then we can get off him.
Yeah, I'm quite concerned with Parramatta. I thought they'd come out a lot better, and I think I've made a mistake there, thinking that a lot of teams are going to contend nice and early, because that's how it goes all year. But maybe they do contend in round two. Maybe just complacency and all these teams kind of show what they're worth.
Yeah, I mean, they did get blown. They won the second half. They just got blown out of off the park in that first half. They were just not there. So I mean, if the second half works and they take that into next week, they're going to be a lot better, more contested. So expect more points out of your Parramatta players. Except Kelma Tulangi. There's a good chance he's playing reserve grade next week. Or even Ron Massey cut below because he was awful. He was a standing traffic cone.
Kelma Tulangi, 22
points.
He got hooked after 12 minutes, and Jack Williams went off for the HIA not long after. So Riles got forced his hand to put him back out there, but 22 points. He played the rest of the game, but I don't know how long he keeps.
He came off probably with about 15 to go as well. Well, probably got hooked off again. But if any owners have him, I would get rid of him. I'm getting rid of him. The minutes aren't going to be there. There's a good chance he's not even playing in the side next week. They do have second rowers that can go in there. Not any really good ones, but they have players there that can play.
Kidiode Katonga is going to come in when he 100% recovers from his injury. Jermaine Hopgood, 48 points. I think he didn't get a real chance to run and offload, which is where he gets his points from. So 72 minutes, still good signs. It is a bit annoying when you're probably tossing up between him and Olakuatu, and Olakuatu turned up. So it probably would be disappointing, but don't stress.
Yeah, I mean, the minutes were there. That's what you kind of want to see out of him. The offloads and runs will come. He's not going to be standing under the goalpost for half of his minutes every week. So, yeah, it's promising enough that he gets big minutes still.
Lomax, 46, kicked all his goals. I mean, who knows how he actually looked because Melbourne played so well, but not a good start.
No.
Jack Williams, 44, went off with the HIA. I've got him in my side. I was pretty happy. Sorry, Lomax?
Yeah, no, sorry, we can move on to Jack Williams. I was just saying that the game didn't go his way.
Yep. Jack Williams, 44 points, played 67 minutes. So if it wasn't for the HIA, he might have played bigger minutes, to be honest. 18 points in tackles. He did have a line break, which quite concerning. 13 points in runs. I'm see how he goes next game without a HIA disturbing him.
Yeah, he's a watch.
All right, Guy McCull off the bench, 23 points, and Tuolangi, 22 points. All right, I think you've got a dinner.
Yeah, I'll be heading off soon, so we've timed it perfectly. Right on the hour mark.
Yep. Yeah, I'll stay back. Oh, sorry, I think my internet's gone a bit slower. That's why
I thought it might have been mine.
delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got the little one bar at the top here, but I'm going to answer some questions. You're welcome to stay or jump off if you need to. I don't know.
I'll jump off then.
If
I'll leave
there's
it to you,
that
Savs.
much to answer here, to be honest. All right, cool. I'll catch you later. Thanks for jumping on, Jake.
Peace.
All right, cool. Let's answer some questions before we head off. We've got Clint Aiken, outscored the SuperCoach expert. Yeah, you did. You probably did. But that's okay. Well done to you. There are many people that have probably scored more than me, and many people that have scored lower than me, but that's okay. I think my internet's pretty slow, so I'm going to probably jump off. I'll answer a couple of questions. We've got Black Belt Bullets. My cheap center wing actually played was McLean for 4. Oh no, that's disturbing. Yeah, I think my internet's actually that bad. So I'm going to jump off, but thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you on Tuesday for our SuperCoach TLT podcast. But thank you for tuning in.